Today is International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day. I wanted to share a message with Muslim women today to encourage them to value their voice and perspective. I have my moments of sadness and claustrophobia when I see some people use and abuse the religion of Islam to clip our wings and to silence our voices. In one such moment of frustration, I wrote a 6-point manifesto. And I'm going to read it out from that today, and I hope that it brings you hope and solace as you listen to this. Point 1. Reclaim the right to interpret. Many male scholars of Islam have given us contradictory and sometimes silly interpretations of the Quran and Sunnah, making one blunder after another. That hasn't stopped them from interpreting, so what's stopping us? Why can't women interpreters give their opinions about the Quran? And if they make errors, so what? Give them 500 years to make those errors. Next time anyone dismisses your opinion, simply reclaim your right to interpret. We respect male scholars' right to interpret and demand the same for us. Support women interpreters who exercise intellectual honesty, not those who are mouthpieces of patriarchy. Support independent seekers of knowledge who challenge the status quo. Read the work of Asma Barlas, Fatima Marnisi, Lale Bakhtiar, Nikat Satar, Amina Wudud, and Aisha Chaudhry. Give them attention and respect, even if you don't agree with their views. Remember, it is us women who primarily transfer the Islamic way of life to future generations. Exercise your agency as a believer. Reclaim the right to interpret. Point 2. Own your perspective and your voice. By this I mean that we are half of the human population, also the oppressed half, and we must learn to trust ourselves. Allah hears the cries of the oppressed. We must have faith in that. Our reading of the Quran will always be more compassionate. As oppressed and hurt people, when we open the Quran, we focus on its message of mercy, compassion, and justice. We read the Quran as a liberatory text. When men read the Quran, they want to find in it ways of cementing their power. We are more people-centered. Look at how female political leaders dealt with the pandemic and compare it to the men who were in charge in Britain and the USA, or the men who gave fatwas to keep mosques open in poor countries with no health care. We worry about everyone, men, women, and children. We appreciate Allah's attributes of Rahman and Rahim more than men do. Why? Because we hold on to them for our sanity. We believe in a just God, not a male God. Who is to say that our reading of the Quran is poorer or less valid because it is a female reading of the Quran? Own your perspective and be confident about yourself as a believer. Point 3. Own the truth of your experience. If you are a mother to a young child, don't allow men to tell you what that means unless they are willing to clean diapers and wash toilets. Don't let a man tell you to wear a niqab unless he is willing to try it out for 6 months in the summer heat in South Asia. You know what it is like to be a mother. You know how hard it is to wear black gloves when it is 42 Celsius outside. Our narratives as women, our experiences of patriarchal power structures will always be more credible than that of men's. We must own the truth of our experience and build on that. No man should tell a woman that she has full choice or options. That's just theoretical. If he pretends there is no oppression, call him out. If a woman pretends there is no oppression, engage in consciousness raising. Only engage in discussions with a man who can exercise empathy and listen to you whilst giving you credibility. For all others, bombard them with argument and evidence and let them rant and shout. But never ever question the truth of your experience, how you felt when a man denied your existence or treated you like an object or talked over you at an office meeting or dismissed your opinion because of your gender. Own the truth of your experience. Point 4. Rock the boat. My younger self believed that change happened at mass scale and one needed to convince an audience of 5,000 people to make any difference. Experience and lots of reading have taught me that change happens one conversation at a time. Do not underestimate the power of a single chat or a single action. It can change one mind who can change 10 others. The result of a change we initiate is only known to Allah. Our job is to spend our energy on the process. Your circle of influence will depend on your circumstances and choices. A woman who is a housewife can influence her household. Someone like me can talk to a larger audience. Some of you will have friends at study or work who you can influence. In all these cases, learn the art of conversation that gently pushes people out of their comfort zones. Use your knowledge to influence the people who are basically within a 3 to 6 feet circle around you. All of us have this power to influence one conversation at a time. But this will require some effort at gaining knowledge, so prepare yourself. There are about half a dozen controversial topics in Islam that come up again and again. Read about them. Use the material on this channel to put together a file with scholarly opinions and have it on hand. If a woman in your circle has internalized misogyny, facilitate her in consciousness raising so she realizes how she is upholding patriarchy. But don't ignore misogynistic comments. Challenge and question without judgment, and when challenging and questioning, be kind. If you can't influence your fathers or uncles, raise your sons and daughters as equals. Split household chores among them. Get your sons to cook and clean. This is meaningful and powerful generational change. Encourage your children to study the humanities rather than only studying to enter professions like medicine. The Muslim Ummah needs thinkers. It needs philosophers, historians, social scientists. Take appropriate risks. Be careful in countries where dissent can lead to serious harm. But rock the boat. Influence one conversation at a time. One conversation, one action, one household chore at a time. Point 5. Know where to situate yourself. Know where you situate yourself in a discussion. I do not agree with many aspects of liberal feminism. I want to be known as a feminist who works within the Islamic tradition and respects the bounds of morality established in the Quran. I have therefore learned how to deal with people who pigeonhole me as a westernized feminist. Find out where you stand, make an informed decision, and get evidence to back it up. Find allies. I know so many wonderful Muslim men who understand what we are going through, who understand how patriarchy harms men just as it harms women. Build alliances with them. Identify your audience, use your energy wisely, and seek like-minded people. Situate yourself. And finally, point number 6, enforce humbleness. If we act humbly towards others, reflect, admit our mistakes, and approach the Quran with intellectual honesty, we find barakah, we find blessing in our work. Think of yourself as a student on a lifelong journey, then expect the same from your discussion group or adversary. If a man talks to you from his position of power, as they often do, bring him to a point of humbleness. For example, 2 men are lecturing you about female modesty and not respecting your interpretation. Tell them it is not a topic for brothers. Remember, if they can dismiss your opinion because you are female, you can dismiss theirs based on gender too. Once you have won an equal place at the table and they have agreed to engage with the idea and not your gender, only then discuss this matter with them. And force humbleness. If you are giving credibility, then also demand credibility. Above all, stand together, support other women. Thank you for listening.